And it's such an honor and a privilege for us to be joined once again in studio with Nico Kleynhans. Good morning, Nico, and thank you so much for your time.
Hi, good morning to you and also to the listeners.
One of the questions
Yeah,
I've
go on.
got, Nico, is how many countries have got a minister of youth or a youth minister who is as old as ours?
Well, we have the record in a couple of areas, and certainly with the youth minister aged 74 years old, that puts us in the unique category in South Africa and also in unique category in the world. And in many ways, my theme cry, My Beloved Country, is based on the book by Alan Paton, where he is trying to work out what is the norm in society and how do you operate when that norm does not operate. And for me, that's important because I have to understand what is happening in South Africa because I work with money and I work with finances. And if I don't understand what is happening in the background, I can't help my clients because I've got to say, or I've got to put strategies in place that allow them to survive what we're experiencing in South Africa, hence my title. So there are a couple of things that make us unique. The first is that we have a president who believes that a minister of youth can cope at the age of 74. It's a joke, obviously. Then we're one of the few countries that has 3 cabinet ministers focus on electricity generation. And yet between them, in the winter months, we're going to be without electricity for at least 8 hours a day. So in spite of having 3 ministers looking at the problem, they're still only going to provide electricity for 2/3 of the day. And so the question I was having in the last few days is, what does a minister actually cost us as people? And I've been very generous with the way I've put this information together. I've given the minister doubt wherever doubt is possible. So an annual salary for a minister is just over 2.5 million. That's how much money that minister puts into their pockets. It's not what it costs us. It's what they put into their pockets. That minister also gets free, unlimited electricity, no load shedding, and gets free water, not a cent out of their pocket. That minister also gets 2 luxury motor cars with full running costs, full insurance. Those motor cars cost at least 2 million each. Every minister gets 2 of those. The minister gets free accommodation in a state home. But because the minister may need a second home, we then allow them to rent a second home and we pay the rent. Now listen to how much rent the minister pays. If that minister were to rent a house costing 2.4 million, they have to pay 2,000 rand a month for that property. We pay the rest. And that 2,000 rand a month includes free housekeepers because we pay those housekeepers as well. In addition to that, the minister is allowed 11 assistants. Without exception, every minister has got more than 11. We pay for that. Every minister gets free international travel, first class, and they get 30 free local business class tickets. So how then do we as South Africans survive? Because I'm not even mentioning the corruption that is happening.
Yeah.
And so because I'm a Christian, I have a couple of issues here. One, what would Jesus say to me in a situation like that? And what do I then expect other Christians to do about what we are facing? Because the problem is not going to fix itself. If we're hoping that one day the rulers will give us the power to make the change, we are living in a naive world. Power is not granted to you by people. If you're going to make changes, you have to make it. You have to take that power as people, and you've got to make it. And it's got to be done in such a way that it is compatible with our faith, and in my case, that it still allows me to create wealth for people. That is the challenge. So what would Jesus say? Would Jesus say, Father, forgive them? Would Jesus say, where is your love for my people? Would Jesus say, if anyone follows me, he's got to deny himself? I don't know. And I'm wondering what you listeners feel Jesus has to say about what's happening.
Sure.
And what is it that your listeners are going to do to create the kind of country that we need in this country, that'll protect the vulnerable people, that'll feed the hungry, that'll provide homes for those who need it? We have massive responsibilities. And unless the church's prophetic voice is heard, we have even less of a chance of moving forward. So, we cry, but what else are we going to do? And how does that change begin to create a safe place for this country that I love so much?
Sure. Thank you so much, Nico. Such a good reminder that we need to stand up for what we believe in, and we need to be the difference that we want to see. So thank you. Thank you for your time this morning.